As people share about their adventures with their cats in Europe and Australia and South America, you kind of get a glimpse into their parts of the world and what their country is like and the places they have to go adventure with their cat. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it does add some interesting depth to see people from all over the world.
Join us for a chat with the experts as we help and encourage you to share in a life of adventure with your cat. Remember, no adventure is too big or too small. We can't wait to learn, grow, and explore with you. Hello and welcome to the KittyCatGO Adventure Podcast, where we discuss various topics related to traveling and adventuring with your cat. I'm your host, Emily Hall, and today I'm doing things a bit differently. Instead of having a guest expert, I decided to have my husband Bobby on the show, and together we're going to share some behind-the-scenes things about KittyCatGO, answer a handful of questions that were submitted by KittyCatGO email subscribers, and share some stats that I gathered in the recent community survey I did a few months ago. For those who don't know, Bobby here plays a big supporting role behind the scenes here at KittyCatGO HQ. Not only does he help me wrangle our crew of cats, dog, and sugar gliders, he also writes and records the music for the podcast and mixes and masters the show recordings, which isn't always an easy job, considering that the show is usually recorded live between myself and guests who could be anywhere in the world with varying degrees of internet service, cameras, and microphones.
Yep, that's what I do, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy composing music and kind of just coincides with Emily to have her podcast and use my music, which is a great way for our passions to align. And yes, sometimes the guests have audio considerations that make the mixing a little more involved, but it's really not too difficult. I enjoy the work and enjoy seeing Emily's podcast and various Kitty Cat Go things succeed. So it's always a joy for me to help out.
Well, I appreciate you, and I know the listeners do too. Otherwise, there would be no podcast.
Well, you could do it without me mixing, but it wouldn't sound as good, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So the first thing I want to share about today are some stats regarding the KittyCatGO community. As some of you may know, I put out a survey a couple months ago to the KittyCatGO community at large, and it included several questions about their adventuring experiences. The results were interesting, and I always love to learn more about everyone. I thought you as a KittyCatGO community member might be curious to learn more about everyone as well, so I wanted to share some of the key stats and takeaways with you. The first question I asked was, what country are you from? And the demographics that I gathered were that 68% of you are from the United States, about 20% of you are from Canada, about 7% from Australia, less than 5% from Europe, and less than 1% from South America. Had no Africa or Asia or Antarctica representation.
Looking for that Antarctica representation.
Yeah, I would love to see an adventuring cat in Antarctica. Perhaps not the safest environment.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that most of you are in North America. I love seeing how cat adventuring is spreading around the world more and more. I'll be curious what the stats on this question look like in a couple years as this community grows and more people start getting out there with their cats.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch the progression of everything that you've done from the beginning with Kitty Cat Chronicles. I don't even know if these people know that exists. So it's gone from Kitty Cat Chronicles to Kitty Cat Go and having community. And, I get to participate with all of that behind the scenes and seeing the different cats and sharing and, following all of the different social media. I'll look at all the pictures and enjoy it. It's just really cool to watch everybody have fun with their kitty cats.
It is, and I really like all the international representation because as people share about their adventures with their cats in Europe and Australia and South America, you kind of get a glimpse into their parts of the world and what their country is like and the places they have to go adventure with their cat. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it does add some interesting depth to see people from all over the world. That's, I guess, the benefit of our great wide internet and social media. That's one of the positives that we get from that experience.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's get to the next question on the survey, which is how many cats do you have?
So this is an especially interesting question for me. I always like to know how many people or how many cats people have because, as you may know, we have a large family. But anyway, I was surprised that almost half, 44% of you only have one cat. 30% have two, and 26% of you have three or more. Well, Bobby, it looks like we're in the minority, the 1% minority that has over six cats.
Yeah, we kind of got addicted to getting cats, and we kept having cats show up when we were at the apartment. We had, cats that just would show up at our house and, want to eat. And you went and found Castor that day out in the woods. He
Yeah,
was out
yeah.
there. People would drop cats off, so it just became like, well, what would one more hurt?
Right? Once you get past, three or four, it's
Like,
always like,
oh
oh,
well,
what's one more?
yeah, and that guy's really cute. Let's get him.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we have 7 cats. All are rescues, 6 are adopted, 2 of which are foster fails, and then one of our current cats is a stray rescue. We had a previous cat who was also a stray rescue, but he's no longer with us. And our oldest are Delilah, Samson, Sophie, and Sassy, which are all about 11 years old. And then our youngest is Griffin, who is 3.
Griff.
Yes, yes. He may only be 3, small in number, but big in personality.
Yeah, he runs around the house like screaming and hollering, and he gets bored very easy. He doesn't chill like the other cats do.
No,
He's always into something.
He doesn't really have a relaxed mode.
Not much of one.
I do want to take this moment to say that it's never too late to start adventure training with your cat. Samson, who I just mentioned, is about 11. He was 10 when he finally decided he wanted to start being a cat adventurer. So I know a lot of times people wonder, oh, well, is my cat too old? Or, my cat's 10 or however old, it's too late. And it's not too late. It's never too late. You can always start working on your cat. Your training process and the time it takes may be a little bit different, but it is possible.
Well, Samson has shown a tremendous amount of evolution, yeah, over the last like 2 or 3 years, where he used to just sit in your lap in one way, and now he like cuddles in all of these different ways. He's gotten, but more to the point of the adventuring, he went from having like panic attacks when we would like move from one house to the other, or when things were changed. He showed signs of being very scared. And in the recent years, he goes out, loves to go out, and begs to go out into the backyard. He'll come out on the catio when I'm out there with Django and like meow at me, wanting me to take him out. And about half the time I will take him out there, and he likes to go out there and eat grass and smell things, And so his personality has evolved a lot just in the last 2 or 3 years. Between ages of 8 and 11 is when we've seen him sort of evolve the most, really, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, and to that point, I think he's a great example of how a cat's personality and preferences can change over time. So maybe you tried adventure training with your cat when they were younger and it didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that's it, right? You can try again, later and see how your cat does.
You work with him a lot too. I mean, you train him, to be fair. Like you've.
Well, yeah, but personalities change, so.
Yeah. Right.
Don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. Next question is, how many of your cats enjoy going outside?
All right, so according to the survey, 63% of you have one cat that enjoys going outside, and 37% of you have more than one cat that enjoys going outside. And I found this interesting because that means, based on the percentages from the previous question about how many cats you have, this means that almost 20% have more than one cat, but only one of them enjoys going outside, which is important to recognize because not every cat is going to like going outside, right? Out of our 7, 3 are comfortable in varying outdoor situations, 3 are comfortable in the backyard, and 1 is a catio-only kitty. So it's important to take your cat's preferences and everything into consideration when it comes to adventuring.
Yeah, I think knowing how to mold them and see, like, like with Samson, since we were talking about him as a good example, like he loves going in the backyard. He is 100% comfortable going back there. If we didn't live on a busy road, I would be comfortable just letting him off leash in the backyard. If we were like out in the country somewhere, I don't think Emily would, but I would be. But when we take him, we've gradually tried to introduce him into going to places where there aren't that many people and new places. And he's nervous at first, but then he starts getting more comfortable. And the goal is eventually to have him where he's just as comfortable out on an adventure in the woods or, at an empty, like a graveyard. Sometimes it won't have as many people. And we can take him out and let him be comfortable out there too.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the next question, which is how long have you been traveling and adventuring with your cat?
All right, so we've got a pretty good spread here on everyone's adventuring experience. 16% said they were just getting started, 10% said they've been adventuring for less than 1 year, 50% have been adventuring for 1 to 3 years, and 16% have been adventuring for over 10 years, which is awesome because I feel like the whole cat adventuring thing has kind of exploded in the past, I don't know, maybe 5-ish years. And so to know that there are some of you out there who've been doing it for over 10 years before Instagram and all of that stuff is really awesome. We have also been at it for about 10 years. We started our journey with Sophie in the backyard about 10 years ago.
Yeah. And Sophie is the kind of cat that can do anything. She is relaxed in every situation. I don't think she would like fireworks. That would be crossing the line for her. But we just went to a balloon festival where these huge balloons were being blown up in front of us, and I think we were about 30 or 40 yards away from them while they were noisily blowing the balloons up, and hot air balloons.
Hot air balloons, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really noisy, and they're really huge and like hanging up there in the sky right in front of us, and she was just as relaxed as she could possibly be.
Yeah, she has quite a
everything.
Unique personality.
Yeah, she is very unique.
I would not have taken any of our other cats to a hot air balloon festival.
No, Sophie can do it though.
Yeah, she enjoyed it.
All right, so the next question is dealing with the struggles and challenges that we see as we're adventuring with our little kitty cats. So the survey question was, what are your biggest struggles when it comes to adventuring with your cat?
So we had a two-way tie for the number one struggle. The two answers for that were dogs and finding cat-friendly places to go. Those are the two number one struggles. Followed closely, and number two was car rides. And then number three was encountering other people when out adventuring with your cat. So I would have guessed these were big struggles for most. Dogs, especially encountering off-leash dogs, is always a big topic of conversation and a struggle that we all have. We have also had some negative experiences running into dogs and off-leash dogs when out hiking with the cats, so I feel your pain there. I do have some resources for these struggles. If you are looking for some suggestions for dealing with off-leash dogs, be sure to listen to episode 4 of the second season of this podcast. I had a panel of guests, including a dog trainer and a cat trainer, and we had a really great discussion on what to do about off-leash dogs and how we might improve those situations. And then for the finding cat-friendly places to go, I know the struggle around that is that many places, especially hotels and things like that, say pet-friendly, but they really only allow dogs. So finding places that do actually allow cats can sometimes be challenging, but I do have a cat-friendly places map on the KittyCatGO website. So if you visit kittycatgo.com, and then on the menu is cat-friendly places, click that, and you'll find a map that pinpoints confirmed cat-friendly locations all over the world, places that I've been to or people in the community have been to, as well as a list of chain locations and hotels and all of that. And you can submit your favorite cat-friendly places to this map too, so that way they can be added in an effort to help other people find these cat-friendly places to go.
I think that's so cool too that people get to that they can share their experience in a way that's like practical that'll actually help other people just by merely submitting where they went and had fun with their cat. That's really pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's an ever-growing resource, so be sure to check it out. And we're especially lacking in some of those international locations. It's very U.S. heavy right now, so those of you who live in Europe and Antarctica, if you're listening, be sure to add this cat-friendly locations to the map. And I have plans to add future resources on how to train and desensitize your cat to dogs and strangers. So be on the lookout for those, because I know those were the um, next two most common struggles.
All right, so the next question involves a lot of different things. It says, how comfortable is your cat with harness training, leash training, backpack carrier training, car training, recall, being around strangers, being around dogs, being in busier places, other clicker training skills?
So the majority of you said you were pretty confident with harness and leash training, which is awesome. Um, that's always great to hear. And then you were least confident with being around dogs and with other clicker training skills. So going back to that dog situation, I know that is a really big struggle. As mentioned, I will have some future resources for dogs, and for clicker training, I highly suggest visiting Cat School. Julie Poslins is an amazing clicker trainer for cats, and if you visit her website, catschool.co, she has some really great resources if you're interested in training fun tricks, and as well as practical things like clipping nails and brushing teeth and all of that.
She also has a community for clicker training cat stuff too, just the same way that you have with Kitty Cat Go Adventure Cats. She also has a community thing, right?
She does, yeah, a course, a community, online community, and it has course and training videos and all of that on it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah, that is really cool. All right, so let's get to the next question, which is, what are your reasons for adventuring with your cat?
The three most common reasons that people listed for adventuring with their cat were to provide enrichment, to strengthen the bond between themselves and their cat, and for fun. And I think that sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think strengthening the bond with a cat is definitely the case. I mean, early on when we first got Kylo Ren was a Valentine present for Emily. His full name is Kylo Ren Valentine, which is a pretty happy to name.
Yeah.
But Kylo was such a mama's boy that he would not even let me pet him. He would like shy away. He wasn't mean, but Emily could do whatever she wanted with Kylo. Pick him up, pet him, any kind of pets that she wanted to give him, he was happy to receive, but me, not so much. But when we went on adventures with Kylo and we took him to little cabins and things like that, he immediately would warm up to dad and be like completely like lovey with me too, which gave me some hope and reason to invest more time when we got home, finding ways to interact with him where I could be more lovey with him. And these days, he and I have gotten a lot stronger. Sometimes he even chooses to sleep with me at night instead of Emily, and she gets
Yes.
very mad. Which it doesn't
It's
last.
a competition who can catch Kylo at night in the bed.
Yeah.
And by catch, I mean like who does he choose to
Yeah.
lay down with?
Well, and he won't stay with me because I don't accommodate him like you do. You'll be uncomfortable to let him, and I won't. I'll move around, and he gets up. But yeah, he and I
Yeah.
have gotten a lot stronger. It's a great example of how the bond between me and Kylo has gotten a lot stronger, and it really did start with us going to places and me and him being wanting to be with me as much as you almost when we were on adventures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that one-on-one time, and I guess, I mean, it wasn't strictly one-on-one because I was there too, but there weren't any other cats. You know, you were getting to play with Kylo and spend time with him in an environment outside of the home, and it really did.
Yeah.
His trust in you and his affection towards you really blossomed.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning too that Kylo has the kind of personality that when we go somewhere new, he adapts very quickly to the new environment.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like Griffin or when we've taken other cats, they might not settle into a new, when we're staying at Airbnb, they might not settle in and be like, oh, we're home. this is home now. Kylo almost immediately just realizes, okay, this is where we're at now. I'm cool with that. So I think that, is just part of why we took him so many places to begin with. I mean, he just is good at it. So
Yeah.
made it easy to bond with him, I guess, is the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
You know.
I think as we all adventure with our cats, remembering these reasons that got us started, providing enrichment, strengthening the bond, having fun, we got to keep those in mind and remember that that's why we're doing them. Because I think we all, including myself, can sometimes get frustrated when adventures don't go a certain way. And we have to remember that the outings with the cats are for them and not for us. I know, if I have these grand plans in my head to take Kylo out for a hike and he's not into it. He just wants to ride in his backpack. It can be a little disappointing. Be like, well, man, come on, let's hike, and he doesn't want to. And I just have to remember, well, okay, well, that's fine. He can ride, and that's fun for him. If he's enjoying that, then awesome.
Yeah, I think that between the two of us, I have an easier time adapting to the cats what they want. You have it in your head. You want to do this, and you're gonna do it. And I'm like, all right, Kylo, let's just chill on this log. And you're like, no, I want to go on hikes.
I've gotten better.
Yeah, you have got. Yeah, Kylo has trained you. He didn't have much trouble training me with that.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is an insightful question on places you could take your cat. So, what types of environments does your cat enjoy most?
80% said the yard. 60% said the woods, 54% said neighborhoods. So those were the top three. There was a list that I gave people that they could choose from. It was kind of extensive, but yard, woods, and neighborhood were the top three types of environments that people said that their cat enjoys the most. And I love that everyone gets out there and explores in their yard. That's all you need, really. I think sometimes we get caught up with this idea that adventures with our cat have to be some grand thing, like going on a hike or going, on a camping trip or whatever it is. But it can be as simple as just going out in your backyard. And if that's all you ever do with your cat, then that's awesome. That's amazing. There's so much to see in a backyard. The sights and the smells and the sounds and all of that, and just getting to feel the changing temperatures and the grass under their paws. That's so enriching and rewarding for them. So don't feel the pressure to do more than that if you don't feel comfortable, if your cat doesn't feel comfortable.
And I guess I feel like bringing up Samson again. I think the idea of like enrichment and also bonds. I mean, think about how good it feels when Sampy is on, putting his paws up on the catio and meowing at me because he wants to come in the backyard with me and spend time with me. He's eager to be out there, and so the yard really does, add a lot, especially to his life. Now, my preference, I think, is getting out into the woods. I think me and Kylo share the same kind of enjoyment. We both like to go in the woods. We don't want to overexert ourselves. We want to take it slow, maybe sit down and rest and enjoy the scenery. And I can see the woods. Neighborhood, I don't think we've ever even tried to take our cats into the neighborhood.
Well, I think we're sort of at a disadvantage in that we live on a busy road, and we have a neighborhood that we can walk to, but it's a noisy experience to get there, and I don't really feel all that comfortable taking them around the busy road. But for
I would
those
be scared of dogs so much. In a neighborhood, I would be terrified that the dogs were going to be out.
Yeah, but those who might live in quieter neighborhoods, I bet taking a walk down their street can be a real nice, peaceful experience.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you know your neighborhood, we have dogs in our neighborhood that are scary.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're always fenced in, but there's a pair of them that's just like, if they're ever out, I would be scared for my own self if I was out, especially a kitty cat.
Yeah.
So that's probably got a lot of reasons why I'm nervous. Would be nervous to take them out in our neighborhoods. Those dogs seem like they would eat them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For us, I agree. The yard and the woods are our two favorite places.
Yeah.
If you ask Sophie, she would say anywhere where the most people are.
Yeah. She does like to get the attention. She does. She's a little rock star.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we've gotten to the last question on the survey that you answered for Emily. and it is, what is your number one goal for the next 3 to 4 months?
The two most common answers for this question were being more consistent and getting comfortable around new people and places. Being more consistent is definitely a goal of mine. I've been working really hard at this, and I've actually started reserving Friday mornings for bigger adventures like hikes. And I'm making an effort to get out in the backyard with the cats on a more daily basis. It's really amazing what a difference keeping to a consistent training and adventuring schedule makes. Back in May in the Kitty Cat Go Trailblazers community, we did a training and outdoor streak challenge where participants tried to get at least 10 days in a row. They could either work on their harness and leash training or backpack and carrier training, or actually go outside. And going outside could mean, on your porch, backyard, or a bigger adventure. And in Trailblazers, we have 2 Zoom chats every month. And during one of the community Zoom chats back in May, several members shared about the progress they were able to make with their cat thanks to keeping to a consistent schedule. So I want to give a shout out to a few Trailblazers. Susan shared that after a month of going out consistently with her cat Maggie, that Maggie now lines up at the door and waits to have her harness put on, whereas before she would run away when the harness came out. Rain also shared that Kevin now eagerly awaits his daily outdoor time rather than hiding. Shout out to Nichelle and her cat Chester, who settled into a new routine of going out for a little walk every morning before work, which I think is awesome, starting the day off right. Robin reported that her cat Guinevere used to be pretty fearful of passing other people when out on a walk, to the point where she wouldn't want to come out of her backpack again once that happened. After getting out every day during the month of May, Robin says that though Guinevere is still somewhat afraid of other people, she's able to rebound much more quickly when they pass someone else, and it's no longer ruining the rest of their outing.
Wow, that's really amazing. Those are some cool results that these people got. The cat's waiting to go outside. It's like Sampy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just keep bringing up Samson, but he's the one who's made the most evolution. And you have been training him with backpack training consistently, and now he gets in his backpack and sleeps.
He sleeps in it now. Yeah,
he sleeps in it sometimes. Maybe not at night, but he sleeps in it sometimes. And so he's now ready. That's a big deal for us because we have been taking him on adventures and only being able to take the stroller, and so which limited kind of where we could go and what we could do. And if he could get used to the backpack, then now we can take him on all of these sort of, adventures that are a little bit deeper into the woods and to places that he'll likely be very comfortable. And the other thing that I thought about too is just with humans, how important it is with us and how there's a parallel for consistency and working out, and, as a musician, I have to have a consistent practice routine if I expect to play well. And athletes, same thing. If they expect to perform well, they have to consistently train. They can't just, expect to go out on the field and be a major league pitcher like overnight. It just doesn't happen that way, So
yeah, it takes practice and
yeah.
consistent practice.
Yeah, consistent practice, and that that it has consistency within the practice, where you're practicing the same thing kind of over and over.
Yeah.
So that you can master that one little skill to get to the next one, kind of thing. And cats are just no different, and it's I don't know if it's worth thinking about or sharing, but it's definitely a parallel that we share with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to see the progress that everyone made during that monthly challenge really brought that all to light for me. Because I know some of the same struggles that some of my members were having, like cat running and hiding when a harness comes out. Kylo is kind of like that sometimes. And so it gives me hope. Well, maybe if I'm more consistent with his adventuring, he might get over that, because more than one member reported overcoming that obstacle with consistent outdoor time. And, yeah, it's very inspiring.
One thing that's helped Kylo is seeing Samson going out and him getting jealous.
Oh, yeah. Kylo gets big time jealous.
He gets jealous. And he now wants to go outside in the backyard because Samson did. Kylo's funny. He doesn't share either. If he's with me, then none of the other cats can be with me.
Kylo lives up to his name pretty well.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren Valentine.
Yeah.
He's a little diva.
He is.
All right, so I have really loved watching Emily grow Kitty Cat Go. It started with Kitty Cat Chronicles and her passion for sharing our cats and the life that we have with them. And now we have Kitty Cat Go, and it's just, more focused, and the growth with it has been more exponential because of Emily's focus and her ability to make it happen. And so I am interested to know from Emily what she has in store for future plans with Kitty Cat Go, or, what's coming as we venture into the rest of this year and into next year.
Yeah, so if you are on my email list and get my weekly emails, you've probably read that I am currently taking a cat training certification course through the Animal Behavior College, and I'm a little over halfway through the course at this time of recording here in July of 2023. And I'm learning a lot, having a really great time getting deeper insights into cat behavior and training. And once I've completed my certification, which should happen by the end of the year, my plans include creating a harness and leash training course, as well as doing some Zoom training consultations to help people with things like harness and leash training, backpack training, or any other struggles that they may be having with their cat. And just being able to have that more personalized one-on-one session with people to really get insight into their experience with their cat and be able to help them on a deeper level. I'm excited to be able to do that once my certification is over.
Yeah, exactly. I think the thing that I love about our life and our lifestyle is that we both are pursuing passions that we believe in and have a lot of love for, and just, good positive energy for. And seeing you go through this school, and you're an excellent student, obviously, and watching you, be successful as a student again. And I'm just eager to see how that portion of your existence as a cat entrepreneur or something, I don't know what you call it. But I'm hoping that we get to have like cats over here at the house that you're training, and we get to meet them, or bring the kittens over. Everybody brings their kittens over, and we get to hang out. Maybe I can be the assistant and help quote unquote. I'll be a quote unquote cat trainer too, a cat trainer assistant. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, so now that the survey that Emily provided for you guys to answer is done, we are going to move on to the questions that you asked Emily and I to answer. And the first question is from Donna. She says she has a plant saucer on her step that she fills with water for the animals. She's seen birds drink out of it, and she assumes other animals such as raccoons as well. She had a stray cat she adopted who went outside during the day but always came in at night. She saw her drink from the water saucer during the hot summer months and did so for several years. However, last summer she came down with an infection that took her life. Donna wants to know if it's possible that her cat picked up the infection from drinking the water the other animals drink from when she was outside.
First off, Donna, I just want to say how very sorry I am for your loss. Losing a beloved kitty is never easy, and my heart goes out to you. I also want to note that I am not a veterinarian, so I'm not qualified to give health advice or answer health questions. However, I did some research for you to see what I could find. And unfortunately, the truth is that free-roaming outdoor cats face many dangers, one of them being exposure to things like diseases, toxins, and contaminated food or water. It's definitely possible that the water saucer had been contaminated with something that could have caused your kitty to become sick, but there are also a million other places and things your kitty could have picked up the infection from. My best advice would be to consult with your veterinarian if you haven't already. If they know what kind of infection and illness it was your cat had, they might be able to help narrow down the source for you. But again, I'm so very sorry for your loss. That's terrible.
Yeah, I think my thoughts about this is it sounds like, and was it Donna? Was her name? Yeah, Donna seems like she might be feeling a little responsible for the cat having gotten sick. And my my thought would be just to reiterate that, as soon as you step outside, I mean, there's the probability of running into something that can hurt you, increases by a million times for everyone, everywhere, everything, all the time. and there's the probability that it was the water is compared to the other things that are out there is just so small.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so difficult to know, and unless you know what it was, what infection or disease that your cat had, and knowing that might give a more definitive answer to where it came from.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and there's no need to carry a personal debt related to the death because it's just could have happened to anyone. It's one of, the it's what is called an act of God, I guess, by the insurance company. When something happens to something when it goes outside, there's no way to make that a personal responsibility. That's
yeah,
just not
for
possible.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
So the next two questions are from Terry and Jim. If you had a magic wand, what Kitty Cat Go product would you like to give a trial run to everyone so that they would know how awesome it is?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Hmm. Though it's not exactly a product, I think I'm gonna have to go with membership to the Kitty Cat Go Trailblazers community. It really is such an amazingly supportive group, and members are able to get to know each other on a personal level that's just not really possible on social media and all the other places we all interact with each other. There's no other community for cat adventurers that allows members to be free of the constraints of social media, to swap and bounce around ideas, to be real and open without fear of judgment or criticism, and to really know that they'll be supported and encouraged no matter where they are in their journey. Getting to connect face to face during our Zoom chats is great too. Bobby, I know you've come to some of those Zoom chats.
Yeah, being on the podcast is making me want to come to more. I can tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, real friendships are being built and made every day, and it's amazing to see. And then, of course, plus the monthly challenges and activities are always a blast, like the streak challenge I mentioned that we did back in May. Just this past month in June, we did a box fort building challenge, and I just wish everyone could see the amazing creations that were built.
Yeah, there were some good ones. Yeah, I think for whatever reason, the thing that pokes out to me the most about the community right now that you're talking, I'm sure it would be something else, maybe of a different time. But the thing that pokes out to me right now is the idea of being able to come into a community without judgment and fear of people, being mean or whatever, because that's such a thing that happens on social media.
Right.
Especially, when you're dealing with, how you handle your pets. Everybody has different opinions about that kind of stuff, and inside of your community, you can kind of set a tone and sort of temper the idea of, criticism and harsh criticism, whereas online, it's anything goes, and people definitely, are not afraid to share negativity when it comes to social media, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I like that about the community, but there's plenty of other things. That's just the thing that poked out to me
I think
today when you were talking about it.
I think too on social media, everyone feels the pressure to only share about the good things and the positive
Yeah,
things.
because you don't want to be judged. That's
Right,
right.
yeah, you don't feel as free to share about the struggles that you're
Yeah.
having or something negative that happened, but in the Trailblazers community, I mean, people have really opened up about their struggles relating to cat adventuring or their cats in general, and the community members have been able to be really supportive and offer their ideas and suggestions on how to get through it, and to see the community come together and just be there for each other is really inspiring and heartwarming. It's my favorite part of Trailblazers.
Right. Yeah, it's a positive experience to be able to build that is what we all need, right? The cats and us as
Mm-hmm.
people, we all need to be able to have a positive experience. So when something bad happens and we want to share it with someone, we get the opportunity to actually learn from that, whatever happened, whether it be a mistake or just something that happened, and how we can maybe grow from that experience instead of maybe at social media you just don't post it because you're too scared of
Mm-hmm.
what people might actually say, and
Right.
it's less constructive, maybe
Yeah.
a way of saying it.
Yeah. Well, Terry mentioned in her question about which product I would like to give a trial run to. And though ongoing membership to Trailblazers is $7 a month, you actually can experience what the community is like firsthand with the 7-day free trial. I encourage everyone to give it a try to see what it's all about. You can visit trailblazers.kittycatgo.com to activate your free trial, and I hope that you'll come join us.
Yeah, I guess my thoughts on that are to be an advocate for Emily and maybe in her stead in ways that she may not be comfortable sharing. But, she puts so much effort and so much work into trying to build all of the different various things that you guys participate in. She really has a lot of time and energy that she devotes to it. She just freed up her schedule recently with some shifting around of things that she was committed to so she can put more time into Kitty Cat Go because it's really what she loves. And I just want everybody out there to know how committed and how hardworking and passionate she is about this, and how it really is a big chunk of her life. Like, I play guitar all day, and she plays or does Kitty Cat Go, pretty much the same amount of time I spent on the guitar, which is in sort of an insane amount of time. So, yeah, she works really hard, and you should definitely come check it out if you're not a part of it yet, because it is a great thing.
Well, thank you. I did not script him to say that, if anyone is wondering.
Yeah, that was off script. All right, so this is the last question for Emily, and then I get to answer a few questions, which is going to be fun. So the question for Emily is, what is your wish list of guests for upcoming podcasts?
Well, I actually have quite the list of guests I work from as I book the shows. Some of the big ones that are currently on the Wishful to Book list are Michael Delgado, Melissa Millett, Kate Benjamin, Nathan the Cat Lady, Sterling Trap King Davis, and Great Grams of Gary. I haven't actually reached out to any of these guests yet, so fingers crossed that when I do, that they agree to be on the show.
What's the really famous cat guy's name? The guy that was like on TV?
Jackson Galaxy.
Jackson Galaxy. I think he should be on the list. That guy's big time.
That is big time. I have to pay to have him on the show.
All right. Well, it looks like a good list of people.
Yeah. All right, Bobby. It's your turn now. Terry and Jim also submitted a couple questions for you.
Yay.
The first question is, what is your best camping tip?
All right, so I have actually put a little bit of thought into this. I don't know if this is going to be helpful because it seems kind of obvious, but I think these tips are things that we didn't necessarily think about that much when we first started camping, but we do now. And one of them is to have electricity wherever we go, because I have a CPAP machine and I need to use it at night to not snore and to hopefully sleep better, but also, which is very important, Emily needs to get a good night's rest as well, and if I'm snoring, she can't sleep. And then the other part that when we were first camping that we do now, I think we try to make sure we get a campsite that has nice amenities, so a nice shower and a nice bathroom, because we do tent camping. Mm-hmm. So those are the two things that I look for in a campsite: is electricity and a nice bathroom, because Emily really likes to be able to have somewhere nice to do the bathroom things.
Yes. I will say we have camped in an instance where we did not have either of those things.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I think wherever we camp, these are kind of like the precursors of whether or not we're going to camp there. It's like, if we got electricity, then that's a huge plus.
That's the biggest one.
That's a huge plus. Yeah. And then the bathrooms, having clean bathrooms is pretty nice too.
Yeah. I think to add to that, or to generalize that, I guess, is to just really consider what your personal and specific needs and desires are when you go camping, and pick your spots based on that. That could be, the types of activities you want to do while you're camping. So you want to pick somewhere that has hiking nearby and stuff like that. Or if you're wanting to do water activities, pick a camping spot that's on a lake or something.
Also, another good tip that I just thought about where you're talking is if you have a plan to go camping and you can plan it far enough ahead, you probably want to go try to book early, because like wherever we go since the pandemic, when everything got so crazy and everybody had to be outside and away from everybody else, camping has become very much a popular thing. And so it can be difficult to get a campsite. We have a campsite here at Lake Juliet, and it's in Monroe County in Georgia if you're interested. And it's a beautiful campsite on a lake that is it's either a state preservation or federal preservation.
It's part of the state park system.
Okay, state park. And so there's no houses on the lake or anything, and the campground has been updated actually by Georgia Power, and it's just a wonderful place to camp. But wow, if you want to get a campsite, you got to start booking like 6 months in advance.
At least.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things that if you're not really used to camping, you want to get hip to that because if you really got somewhere you want to go and it's like an important to you, then which we really love Juliet because it's right next to the house. So it's important to us to get a campsite there when we want to get one during our vacation so that we can kind of go back and forth. If the sleeping's not good, we can sleep here at the house. We can take cats over and let them experience the campground and then bring them home where they feel safe, kind of push the boundaries of their adventuring. And man, I mean, we have to book that campsite so far in advance, 6 months to a year to make sure we get a spot. So that's a tip especially if you're not used to it. That's something you want to get hip to.
Yeah, that actually makes me think of a tip. I know this was a question for Bobby, but I just thought of a good one based on your answer there, is making sure that you do a test run before you go camping, right? Because if your cat doesn't like it and you are out, hours from home and they're freaking out, then can be a real negative experience, negative situation. So definitely like practice in the backyard, but then also doing something like what we do. The campsite, our favorite campsite, is 15 minutes from our house. And like Bobby said, we're able to bring a cat over and introduce them to the campsite, see how they do with it. If they're not into it, we can bring them back home, and it's not a big deal. So start by practicing in the backyard, but then maybe once you're ready to venture from the yard, pick a campsite that is close to home, so that way if you have to take your cat back home, you can do so really easily.
Yeah, that camping, man, that turned into a lot more than I thought it would when I first saw the question. We can talk, can't we?
Yeah. All right, next question. Right. What projects are you hoping to get involved with before the end of the year?
All right, well, I like this question because I do like talking about the projects that I want to do as a musician. Right now, I am reinventing myself for probably the 1,000th time, and it feels like anyway. And but it's really not in a way that's negative. I feel really good about this next path. I've redone my office. I am starting a new Instagram and a new website, a new YouTube. So those are all big projects that'll be ongoing. My immediate projects are I have a classical guitar concert that I'm going to be doing in September around my birthday, where I am performing actually on September 15th, which is the first day of National Hispanic Month. I'll be playing some composers from the Spanish classical guitar tradition, guys from Spain and from Paraguay and from Brazil. So my own compositions and some gypsy jazz at that concert. And I'm starting a Patreon page as of right now, so that I am looking at hopefully trying to get some patrons on Patreon to help me sort of subsidize my creative output. And I'm going to be finishing up some continuing with the classical guitar, and I have 2 albums that I'm working on, and and a lot of original output and education output. It's a lot. It's just so much stuff. And I will say this question made me think about this, is there is a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. And I think that book has been just an evolutionary concept for me to employ. I just listened to a podcast with Jerry Seinfeld talking about harnessing the creative stallion, which is, he says, if you got this creative energy that's like a stallion, is what he calls it. That's not my word. But he says if you don't harness it and learn to ride it appropriately, it's just a wild stallion and can destroy things. And I think that that's very true for creative, energetic people like myself. And the David Allen technique of getting things done really has helped me to harness my creativity and to place it into an organized format where I can at least see what each bite of the elephant is for every creative project that I have. And I wanted to be sure to mention that because I think it's really difficult being a creative person and having so many things you want to do. The David Allen project helps you get it out of your head onto the page and really fine tune what exactly needs to happen so that you can get onto the projects, see what needs to be done, and finish them. So, yeah, I wanted to mention that with that question because if there's any creatives listening to this, they'll understand what I'm saying and maybe be interested. And if you have any questions about this and want to contact me, feel free to let Emily know or reach out to me at bobby@thehallsofmusic.com because I'll be more than happy to sit down and, do a one-on-one with someone to help them get their creative energies organized. It is a real challenge, and it took me a very long time, and I had to get advice from other people to find how to do that. So maybe a little bit off topic from what are you hoping to get into involved, but that's such a big question to me because I have so many things I could possibly do and would be completely overwhelmed by that question if it wasn't for the David Allen, influence in my life. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, I'm done with the question. Thanks for asking. I definitely love to talk about that kind of stuff.
As you can tell, Bobby is very passionate about music and his guitar endeavors, and all the things that he said earlier about how passionate I am for Kitty Cat Go, all the same could be said for him and guitar. So if you are at all interested in guitar, Bobby's your guy because he has so much passion and love for it, and it's really inspiring and fun to watch his creative journey unfold.
Thank you, Emily. And the final few submitted questions are actually for both of us to answer. So the first question is, what childhood pets did you have?
Well, my very first pet was a black cat named Madeline. I was maybe 7 or 8 when my family got her. A friend of mine's cat had kittens, and we brought one home, much to my dad's chagrin. And that cat ended up sleeping on my dad's head on his pillow every night.
Yes.
And eventually from there, by the time I was in high school, we had 3 cats and 3 dogs. That's the most pets we ever had at one time. So I've always been a multi-pet household. I can't imagine only having like 1 or 2 pets.
I think a funny FYI about Emily is that her first word was kitty.
That is true. According to my mom, that's my first word was kitty.
Mom. All right. Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned with childhood pets, I grew up, was fortunate to grow up on 15 acres out in Monroe County in Georgia. We lived on this really nice piece of property with 2 creeks that met sort of in the center of the property. They flowed from different directions. And so it's just a beautiful setting and a great place to have like multiple. We had 4 or 5 dogs at one time, and we've had horses and cats. And I guess the highlights of that is as I got to be a little older, I had a dog named Ben who was like one of just an awesome dog to have. You always love all your pets, and there are some that just sort of stand out. And Ben was one that was just awesome. We've always had labs. We had cats. My dad didn't like cats as much either, but we would have cats. We had Petey, who was a very dynamic cat. He was like Griffin. If you did something to make Petey mad, he'd let you know. He'd attack your legs. I mean, not seriously. He wouldn't like hurt you, but he'd let you know. But he loved to be rough. I used to love to rough house with him, and wrestle. We would arm wrestle and stuff, and I have scratches all over my arms from playing with Petey. So, yeah, I mean, always been a multiple household with tons of pets. So, yeah, it makes our life.
You had horses too, right?
Yeah, we had horses. Yeah. My sister's a big horse person, and The couple horses that we did have when I was there, I mean, it was fun to have them and ride them and stuff. But I think that the horses lasted a couple years, and then we didn't have horses anymore. After that,
Yeah.
my cousins still sometimes pick on me about having to come out to the house, and they built the fence. My dad paid them to build the fence and surprised me with the horses. I was told we were getting cows, and
Oh,
then
cows would be cool.
yeah, cows would be cool, but it was a horse, two horses. Yeah. Yeah, it was I guess the most interesting probably story about the horses was we had one that we bought from a rodeo, and it was drugged when we got it at the rodeo to be calm. When we got it home, it was like wild.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
terrible.
like kicked the stall and like broke the stall and like just made a huge mess.
Oh my gosh, I've
Yeah.
never heard that story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember that horse's name. I know it was gray. And then we had another horse named Cherokee who was very had a big personality. And if you didn't know how to ride, she knew that you didn't know, and she would take you. You get on her and she'd buck and then run as fast as she could just to try to
Oh
scare
my
you.
gosh.
Yeah, but if you knew what you were doing, you could rein her in. But I could never ride her when I was a kid. I had another horse named Princess, and she was a little more calm. I was like all of 10 years old. Let's do it.
All right, Bobby. Next question. Were you in band at school?
I was in band until the ninth grade. We had a band director named Taskar Williams who was phenomenal. And we kind of set the bar for our local little music scene that were high school bands in terms of the excellence that should be presented as a result of Taskar. And Taskar retired, and they brought in a new band director, and I became disillusioned as a result of the new band director. He wasn't as good as Taskar, and I quit and started playing sports and football. And I also got a guitar around that time, and guitar kind of took over whenever I started it. Like I quit playing trumpet, and just all of my energies musically went into the guitar. And I just haven't looked back since. I can't put the guitar down long enough. I've tried learning banjo and mandolin and other instruments, but I just love playing guitar too much to do it. So kind of fits.
Yeah. I also was in band. I joined in 6th grade and played the flute. I was a flute player through middle school and into high school as well. I did not join marching band when I moved on to high school, and my band director would constantly try to convince me to join marching band, but I always kind of thought that flute was a pointless instrument in the marching band because you can't hear them. It's always the brass players and the drums and all of that you hear. The flutes,
Can you hear the piccolos?
Yeah, you might be able to hear the flutes here and there, but I was like, no, I'm not putting all that work and effort into marching band to not be heard.
Oh yeah.
So I did not want to be in marching band. But then my junior year of high school, I finally gave in under the condition that instead of playing flute, I'd play percussion because I played piano. I've played piano since I was, 6 or 7 years old. And the keyboard percussion instruments like xylophone and marimba and everything are like big pianos that instead of playing with your fingers, you hit with mallets. And I was like, oh, well, that can't be too hard for a piano player. So I told my band director, yeah, I'll join marching band, but I'm going to be in the pit and play marimba and xylophone instead of flute.
You didn't have to march then either.
No, and I didn't have to march. And he agreed, and so that actually put me on my path to percussion and kicked off that love. And I, moved on to college and got my degree in percussion performance. So it was a good move. All right, your favorite meal?
That's easy. I bet you can answer.
Pizza.
Pizza. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I could be a Ninja Turtle, that's what I would be. Because I love the Ninja Turtles, but they love pizza too. And it's like, it really is like my favorite meal. I could eat that all the time.
I do like pizza.
Well,
my favorite.
I like Mexican too. That's
also true. Yeah. My favorite meal will have to be a bowl of ice cream.
That's not a meal.
Okay, fine. If we're going for actual real meals and aren't counting dessert, then I'm going to have to go with that egg noodle dish that you make, Bobby. He makes a really good egg noodle dish that's got like butter and tomatoes and onions and it's really delicious. And
egg noodles with butter sauce, basically.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's pretty easy.
Well, that's all the questions that have been submitted. Do you have any final things you'd like to share, Bobby?
No, I do not. I just want to say a big thank you to anyone who's hung out and listened to us till the end. We talked about some random stuff there for a minute. Didn't have anything to do with kitty cats and adventuring, but maybe it was entertaining. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell, but I definitely appreciate y'all hanging out and enjoying this. We've enjoyed it. It's been fun.
It has been fun. Well, that's it for today. Thank you to all who completed the KittyCatGO community survey, who submitted questions for this podcast, and a big thanks to all you podcast listeners for your support and being a part of the KittyCatGO community. None of this would be possible without you. And Bobby, thanks for being my guest today.
Yeah, the kitty cat expert for today, I guess.
That's right.
Quote unquote.
You're my guest expert.
Guest expert.
Well, this concludes season 2 of the KittyCatGO Adventure Podcast. If you're looking for more from KittyCatGO, be sure to check out my live stream show, KittyCatGO Live, which streams on YouTube and Facebook on the second Wednesday of every month. You can visit kittycatgo.com/live to find more info about the next episode or view past ones. Until next time, happy adventuring. Are you enjoying the KittyCatGO Adventure Podcast? Let me know by leaving a review. This will help others to find it and hopefully be inspired to get out there, try new things, and go new places with their cat. What questions do you have about adventuring with cats? Or maybe you'd just like to chat with me about what you learned in this episode. Find me on Instagram at KittyCatGO Adventures. You can also screenshot this episode and tag me in your stories so I can see who is listening. I'd love to continue the conversation with you, so find me on Instagram or join our Facebook group, KittyCatGO Adventure Team, so you can connect with a whole community of fellow cat adventurers. And as always, you can find the show notes, including all links and resources discussed in this episode at kittycatgo.com/podcast. Until next time, happy adventuring.